say the recording's on, you know, not like last time.
And now being 3 o'clock, we can call the July 11th meeting of the Laconia Police Commission to order. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the minutes show that Commissioner Whittam, Commissioner Tarr, and Commissioner Mello are all present. And I'd like to recognize the staff present: Chief Matthew J. Canfield, Captain Alan Grayton, Lieutenant Richard Simmons, Lieutenant Thomas Sweat, Lieutenant Michael Fanogle, and Prosecutor James Sawyer. We have a quorum established, so the meeting may commence. Personnel matters, Chief Canfield.
Nothing.
Training, Lieutenant Fanogle.
Not unless you have any questions.
Okay, moving on. Miscellaneous, the Laconia Links, Chief Canfield.
Mr. Chairman, can we take that out of order? We have a new hire to swear in. I don't think it made the agenda.
Oh, okay, sure.
I'd like to introduce you to Nathan Hoffman. He just served 5 years in the United States Navy as a submariner, and he's from Northern California. And he just started this past Monday, so he'll be going to the academy, hopefully at the end of August. We have a reservation for him if all goes well.
Nice.
All right, so you need to raise your right hand. Do you, Nathan P. Hoffman, solemnly swear and affirm that you will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all of the duties incumbent upon you as a full-time police officer for the City of Laconia, New Hampshire, according to the best of your abilities, agreeable to the rules and regulations of the Laconia Police Department, the Constitution of the United States, the laws of the state of New Hampshire, and the ordinances of the City of Laconia, New Hampshire, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations. You're welcome.
You must have had to bend over on the submarine.
Yeah. Has to wear a helmet. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations and welcome. See you, great.
Pretty tall boy. I bet he did walk.
Something tells me you won't have any problem with the academy.
I doubt it. Okay, back to the agenda. Laconia Links, Chief Canfield.
Nothing this month?
Resignations and retirement, Chief Canfield.
I unfortunately have one to announce. Lieutenant Sweat will be retiring as of September 1st. We're going to sincerely miss him. He's done nearly 20 years with us here in Laconia and worked for several other departments throughout the state. He's a tremendous asset to us, and fortunately for us, he won't be going too far.
That was awesome.
Well played. I'll make sure you have my email so you can send me
Please
questions.
give me
Hirings, we're all squared away.
Yes,
Well,
we just, go ahead.
I was gonna see if can you give us an update on where Mr. Hoffman places us in terms of full staffing?
So he's, we still have 2 more positions that we're going to attempt to fill with this next one, actually 3 with Lieutenant Sweat leaving. We just had a PT test on June 30th. We had 25 applicants out of that group. So out of 127 at the Great Bay, we ended up with 25 applicants. And of that, we ended up with 16 who showed up at the PT test, all passed. And we have one withdrawal so far, so we got 15 going forward with oral boards. And that'll take place at the end of this month. So we're hopeful that somewhere around mid-October or the beginning of October, we'll be putting somebody on.
Great. Where is this, this new hire, where's the new recruit, where is he from?
So he grew up in Northern California, went into the Navy, and was a submariner. Their submarine ended up in Portsmouth and dry docked, so they're gonna do a bunch of repairs on it.
Yep.
That happened to be the time that he was getting out. He took the Great Bay test, we talked and recruited him.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice. Promotions and classification change.
Nothing at this time.
On to Division Bureau Commander Forum, Operations Support Division Commander, Captain Brayton.
Well, Motorcycle Week, we made it through that. We were a little over what the city gave us for a budget. A lot of that was due to, normally, our first weekend's overtime doesn't come out of the Motorcycle Week budget, but we thought it would be a more accurate representation of what the costs actually are. So we brought that out of the Motorcycle Week budget, so we were a little bit over the city's, what the city allowed us for the budget for that. A lot of that was also due to the very good weather that we had all week. We didn't have any full days of rain where we could cut a lot of people. We cut people when we could, but we did meet everybody that we had out there the whole time. I haven't gotten the year-end numbers for the last fiscal year budget, but I know that we came in well under budget, so there's no issues with that at all. 4th of July went fairly well. Lieutenant Simmons did a good job preparing for, or the 7th, I should say. Called it the 4th, but it was the 125th anniversary celebration. That went well. Very large parade, well attended. It was an hour and a half from start to finish, just for the parade itself. I think everything in Opeechee Park went very smoothly that night as well. We're working on, we have 3 cruisers that we just ordered with the budget being approved. So we're in the works on those. We should take delivery from Grapponi in September, beginning of September on those. Working on,
Those all SUVs? Or?
yes, all the SUVs. Working on the triathlon planning for August 12th. Gonna have the triathlon going out of Opeechee Park again. Pumpkin Fest, of course, that's always on the radar as well. And Lieutenant Simmons is working on National Night Out. That's all I have.
Moving on, Operations Division, Lieutenant Simmons.
Looking at the stats, the only thing that really jumped out at me was the motor vehicle stops are down again, and accidents with injury are up. That's concerning. That's something I keep an eye on. Looking at last year around this time, where the comparison is, there was a couple extra people on, so we were able to do some traffic cars for the night and stuff. So I think a big part of it might be that, but we'll definitely keep an eye on that. As the captain said, the event, the parade in Opeechee, 125th anniversary, went very well. And now we're moving on to National Night Out, which is August 7th at 57 Blueberry Lane. So I've been spending a lot of time on the phone with all the different agencies around Laconia to get those people there, and most of them are coming back, if not all of them, so it should be a good event.
Questions? Detective Division, Lieutenant Sweat.
We've been covering vacations and whatnot, and it's a very busy time of the year for grant reporting. I've been working a lot on that, and Monday night at the city council meeting, there was a first reading of 2 grants that we've been awarded. We got Granite Shield for the 3rd year in a row, and the JAG money from the Department of Justice finally got released, so that application, that contract is going in front of the city council. So hopefully that'll all get approved up on the 23rd of this month.
What are you looking for money-wise? I mean, total.
The JAG grant is $14,632, and Granite Shield, they awarded us $50,000.
I have a question.
Yes, I am retiring, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna check in to see if you're gonna change your mind. You in fact are the grant writer for the department, right? Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
So I guess my concern is with your retirement pending, are you gonna have some overlap with the person that's selected to fill your job before, over the next 6 weeks or so you can, unless somebody else is gonna do that, chief, or?
Yeah, actually, I guess I can speak out of turn before the lieutenant, both lieutenants kill me, but,
Sorry.
we're gonna divide them up a little bit differently, and go back to the way we used to do the grants, where they pertain to the different divisions. So they'll be working on that very shortly with Lieutenant Sweat, so we'll have about 7 weeks of time to catch up on those and take them over.
Yeah.
Legal Division, Prosecutor Sawyer.
The only thing of note, I guess, is the governor signed Senate Bill 556, which relates to bail and annulments. It's changed quite a bit. I haven't had a chance to digest it yet. The first part goes into effect the end of August, and that's dealing with the bail statute. Annulments go into effect the first of the year. So there are different changes. Before, probation would do investigations. Now for violations and Class B misdemeanors, there's not going to be any investigations, really more of a paper thing. Prosecutor will be notified. And if there's something that's been annulled or dismissed, there's not even a petition required under the new statute. It's automatically annulled. And that applies both for the court record and the arrest record. So I'm not sure the mechanism for that, if it's going to be determined in-house or there's going to be some formal notice from the court to the police department that happened. So I'll have to figure that out.
Does the department, do you have access to annulment information during the recruitment process? Or is that protected information?
I haven't digested the new statute. Under the old statute, the way it was modified the most recent time, law enforcement still could have access to it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was for that purpose or for criminal investigations only. And I'm not sure if that has changed as part of this new statute.
Does a person have to, I don't know what your application says or whether it's standard from every PD, but do they have to put down there whether they've ever received an annulment?
That's not a requirement on the current application. We do that through the police app, and that's not on there.
But I think they do, that one of the questions is that, have you ever been arrested,
Yeah.
convicted, or it goes on and on
Yeah,
and
it
on, so
talks
it's a
about
pretty
criminal
good
history.
catch-all.
So you can
Yeah.
get the information that way, maybe.
Yeah, so even if there was an annulment, I think, the arrest part, I think there's catch phrases in there that would probably pick up on that in the background.
And that would come out during the oral board,
Yeah.
before we even got to a background phase.
Moving on to commission action. You've all had a chance to read the minutes. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes as written.
A second.
On a motion made by Commissioner Mello and seconded by Commissioner Tar, we're all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed unanimously, and the meeting minutes of June 20th, 2018 were accepted as distributed. Monthly activity reports, department monthly highlights. Chair recognizes Chief Canfield.
So for the month of June, we had a total of 2,011 calls for service, down slightly from last year at 2,361. Investigated 397 criminal offenses, made a total of 160 physical custody arrests, and conducted 419 motor vehicle stops. As Lieutenant Simmons had pointed out, it's down slightly from 633 motor vehicle stops the corresponding month last year. We issued 40 motor vehicle summonses, 285 written warnings. We had 1 fatal accident, 74 total accidents, the majority of which were during Motorcycle Week. 40 motor vehicle accidents with injuries, 40 parking tickets, 8 DWIs, and 49 people were taken into custody for intoxication. We responded to 32 domestic disturbance calls, 172 other disturbances, 14 suicidal subjects and 3 violation restraining orders. And the volunteers with the police department, within the police department, volunteered 22 total volunteer hours, while Victim Services Unit donated 16 hours for a total of 21 victims served.
Questions, comments?
Chief, you recall last month we had that discrepancy on that arrest number?
Yes.
You're gonna check with Robin on that?
Yes, and we attempted to check with Robin today. I think what it was a clerical error, and the number was, somehow the number 111
Yeah,
got in there.
yeah.
Whereas you see this month, the total number of physical arrests are 747 year-to-date, so I think that was a
Okay.
clerical error that didn't get corrected.
Thank you.
Monthly fleet report, Lieutenant Fernando.
We just took another car back from the shop and it's getting lettered. Other than that, nothing to report.
When the 3 new cars come in, which cars will be
Ousted.
ousted?
We still are working on that, but car 12 has already been surplused. That had damage to it. We're looking at the Chevy Tahoe as a surplus vehicle because the amount of repairs being put into it. And the third one, we haven't decided yet. We're still going over the stats and deciding what we're gonna do.
Thank you.
I got a
Criminal invest,
I got a question.
Question?
What, I was talking to my brother, and, this weekend, and seems that, see, he says that a lot of departments are going to pickup trucks, having the pickup trucks and using them. What would be the difference between a 4-door pickup truck and a regular cruiser that we're getting now?
I'm not sure we'd use the space in a pickup truck as beneficially as you would an SUV, you know, where you got the covered space and
Yeah,
the prisoner transport area is adequately, you know, equipped versus a pickup truck might be higher to get somebody in because you'd probably invest in 4-wheel drive if you're gonna do that. You know, we work in the winter, so
And also, the SUVs that we drive, those are all pursuit-rated vehicles, so they're designed to be driven at higher speeds, have better braking capabilities. Ford only makes a special service vehicle for a pickup truck, so it's not rated to be able to run at the high speeds and have the braking capabilities as well. So that would be one reason why we wouldn't do that, too.
I figured it's probably what it was some technicality, but I can understand that.
Does Grapponi's install a CO, since they're all gonna be SUVs you're getting, right?
I don't think that's an option that they're putting.
No, that's not an option on the bid sheet. That's something we have to do after.
Or you have to do after
Yeah, we get them from an OME. They're just a little unit that tacks to the dashboard.
you have to pay for that, department have to pay for that, or?
Yes.
The problem is supposedly corrected by Ford, so I think their stance would be that there is no problem anymore with those.
Okay.
But out of an overabundance of caution, we still
Yeah.
install the sensors for cheap money. I think it's cheap insurance.
Yeah.
Criminal investigative unit statistics, Lieutenant Sweat.
I have nothing to add unless you have questions.
Well, I was just wondering about, this.
You're just making that up now.
No, I know. I'm not making it up. I was wondering how come we're covering a lot more patrol shifts from your unit, from 6 last month to 27 this month? Is it?
Was that
Some of
because
it
of
had to do with Bike Week.
What's that?
Some of it had to do
Week?
with Bike Week, yeah.
Right. Was that the great percentage of that?
Actually, no, I'm not even sure that, because they all would have been assigned to work
Yeah.
a shift during
Right,
motorcycle
it would've
week.
been
So
more
from the first Saturday through the last Sunday,
Yeah.
they would have been assigned normal shifts.
Monthly traffic statistics.
I apologize, I think the yellow sheet that you got is inaccurate. If you look, it's got the May statistics on there still. But the June statistics are 74 total accidents with 40 involving injury and 1 fatal accident. with a total of 410 parking tickets issued for the month. If you notice, our parking ticket statistics are considerably up from where they were last year. I would suggest, or I would think that a large part of that is because the kiosks and the weirs are up and running and we can take enforcement, whereas last summer, I think they weren't operational until the middle of the summer when they were actually working and the bugs were
Yeah, they
worked
had
out of them, so.
a lot of issues at the beginning when they first installed them.
How was you hired some parking enforcement folks this summer, right?
Yes.
Have they, how well have they been received by the people who get tickets or as
I think-
opposed to a uniform officer is what I'm trying to
Yeah,
get to, I guess?
I think the general public locally is used to them being out and about, especially this time of year. We hire them through the summer, so we haven't received any unusual complaints. I mean, we get complaints in the lobby about parking tickets.
I guess I didn't really ask that question too well, about whether or not they have to take a lot of grief because, from people that get the tickets because they're not uniformed officers, as opposed to.
No.
I don't think it's a huge issue, because most of the time, they're not handing people
Okay.
tickets. They just find them
Put
on
'em
their
on the
windshield, so
windshield
they
and
don't
move on.
know
Yeah.
who gave them to them.
Yeah.
Budget printout. Captain Graydon?
I don't have anything yet for this year. Like I said, the end of last year, still waiting on those numbers as well, but we're well under budget for last year for our overall budget.
Are we getting that school resource officer this year from that transfer that was supposed to happen, or, you know?
Yes, looks like the funding will be for 6 months of the year.
Okay, good. Is that for the middle school? Was that a middle
Correct.
school?
Would there be any grant monies available for the remainder of the 6 months? I mean, will it be picked up as another budgetary item?
That's a little bit of a complicated question, because there is, the COPS grant pays for resource officers, but if we have already hired one and put one in position, you can't then use a COPS grant to hire someone. So I'm not quite sure how that timing's gonna go on that. It's probably longer than 51 days from now.
How many days?
I don't know, I'm just guessing.
We'll call you at 50 days.
Correspondence to and from department, Chief Canfield?
There was a nice thank you letter to Officer Danute and Officer Short, who assisted them up at the Mount Washington. A couple thank you letters for a block party that our Sergeant Hubbard helped out with at River's Edge. And then if you have a few minutes to take to read the email that came through to Eric Adams on a former client of his who reached out and said thank you for helping her get her life straight. And you know, he deals with a lot of different clients, and I think you know, a good percentage of them maybe don't make it through and they relapse. But this was a very good letter. It was really nice to hear that someone was actually helped by him and they made it through, and now they're a couple years out of recovery and they're doing very well and employed, and their life is straightened out. So very nice thank you letter in there.
Everyone who does the work like Eric does, he's one of those letters every now and then.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tough job, it really is, and
Yeah.
it was very nice, very heartwarming to see.
Could this be shared with, like the Daily Sun, omitting, you know, the person's name?
Yeah, we
But
can
I
do
think
that.
this would be, let the public know exactly what he's doing out there, and it's
Yep,
effective.
yep, we can definitely do that.
That's great, I like that.
Yeah, it was
Like
very
Dave
nice. And then Doug from Sick Boy Motorcycles donated $500 to our K-9 unit during Motorcycle Week as well, so that was very nice, and there was a thank you letter that went out to him as well.
Nice. Chief's report.
Performance assessment cards, there were 7 that were received for the month. All of them were As, but one of them, which was marked with Bs and Cs. I tried to reach out to her and call her, but I did not get a return phone call from her. On overdose statistics, we had, although it's still marked as 4 for 2018, it looks like there's gonna be a total of 6 overdose deaths for 2018, with a total of 51 overdoses year-to-date, which is trending slightly less than last year, more on par with the year before. August 10th, we'll be doing a tabletop exercise, which Lieutenant Sweat will still be around, I think. Again, for an active shooter event. Very good training with all of our law enforcement partners and actually all of our first responder partners in preparation for the full-scale exercise that we'll be doing this fall. We'll be doing cop card photos coming up in the next few weeks. When those dates come out, we'll let you know. There'll be a police commission cop card photo done as well, but that's assisted in large part by a grant that was given to us by Meredith Village Savings Bank for $2,500 to put the program together, so we'll be redoing those. On that same note, the department photos are done, so when you're in the station next, we have both of your department photos.
Lori distributed those, I think.
Oh, you got them, okay,
Yep.
perfect. Thank you, Lori. City Employee Barbecue is Thursday, August 2nd at O-Pee-Chee Park from noon to 1. And you're invited to that. The Governor's Task Force on School Preparedness and Safety concluded their report. We had a meeting last week down at the Governor's office. That is going to be pushed out probably for some more funding for school safety throughout the state. And as a result of that, they did some focus groups to drill down into some of the issues and the feasibility of implementing some of those recommendations, of which I think I'll be offered to help out with that. In addition, the U.S. Attorney General will be coming to Concord tomorrow, and I was invited to participate in a roundtable for part of that on law enforcement issues affecting the state of New Hampshire, and then I was also invited to his speech, which is going to be in the General Assembly room of the U.S. District Court tomorrow as well. So, good stuff coming to New Hampshire. And that is all I have.
I understand Laconia High School's getting some funds from the school safety.
Yeah, I think they were looking at some security upgrades, some window
Yeah.
tinting, and some cameras and stuff. So, you know, I think our goal would be to be able to bring those cameras back and be able to view them live, real time in our dispatch center. So, our schools have made significant improvements in not only security but also camera systems and the card access systems. All of our schools, our IDs have the RFID access to them, so our officers can access the schools, any door within the school, and it's quite a system that's really taken off, and we've expanded that to the college as well, so it's coming along. So,
Questions? Anything on old business?
nothing.
New business?
Nothing.
Confirmation of the next meeting date, August 22nd, 2018.
That's a change, right, from normal business?
That is a change. The reason being is that we would like confirmation on the recommendations for promotion, which will be
Okay.
solidified for that
Yeah.
date, so it was bounced a week later.
Right, thank you.
Other business? Citizen comments? Do we have a need for a non-public session?
We do.
Okay. Non-public session under RSA 91 dash A3, Roman numeral 2, A, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, or the disciplining of such employee, or the investigation of any charges against him or her, unless the employee affected one has the right to a meeting, and to request that the meeting be open, in which case the request should be granted. So do I have a motion to go into non-public?
I'll move that we go into non-public session.
Second it.
On a motion made by Commissioner Tar and seconded by Commissioner Mello. All in favor?
Aye.
Passed unanimously in accordance with RSA 91A3. The Laconia Police Commission is entering into non-public session at 3:29 PM.